There's Madonna. It's Magic in the Morning, and it's 8:36. And a weekly chat with Mike Barrett from Barrett Insurance Agency on the card. Mike, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. Where is that card? I haven't seen it.
It's right up here on the screen.
Oh, yeah,
it
right
says,
there.
Good Policies, Mike Barrett, 8:35.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
the one.
What time is it? We're late.
36.
All right, we're good. We're good.
All right. Hey, welcome to autumn, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not loving. Actually, I am loving it. Let's be honest. Fall's my favorite time of year.
I like it too. The
Yeah.
bluer sky and the colors. Well, they're a little early, but I like the temperatures.
Got some trees really popping around my house, and it's just, I don't know. Sometimes I take it for granted, but I look at those, I'm like, wow, just stunning. Love it. Love it. I'm old, Jeff. I'm excited about trees, colors.
It's beautiful, but we know where we're going.
Yeah.
So with that, let's do. We tend to do this twice a year. We talk about changing vehicles, and I don't mean like lease is up or I got to retire my truck or anything like that. A lot of folks have certain vehicles that they drive at certain times of the year, like that nice '77 Impala convertible. You're not going to be cruising around with, November through March. So you're probably going to want to pack that up. We talk about the importance of keeping insurance coverage on. You want to lead in with that?
Love it. So, there's different schools of thought here. Now, if you're talking about a classic or an antique vehicle that's not based on a 17-character VIN for value, which would certainly be that 77 you were just mentioning, there are companies out there like J.C. Taylor and Haggerty and others that you can have it with if you're driving that vehicle low mileage. Maybe just going to car shows and Sunday driving, not going out in inclement weather, not driving it back and forth to work. You can get a really incredibly affordable policy with great coverage, by the way. Great coverage, like a $0 deductible for comp and collision on that vehicle. Now, here's the kicker. That's an annual policy. It's rated based on very low mileage. So the benefit of that is you don't have to make any changes. The only way you can make a change is to cancel the policy and have zero coverage. So you don't want to do that. But if you were to look at that versus maybe putting it on another auto policy with adding and removing it, I guarantee you the J.C. Taylor and the Haggerty's is the more affordable of the two options.
And then, of course, there's always making a mistake and completely removing the coverage.
Or forgetting to re-add it, but we do see a lot of folks like with maybe Mustangs, Corvettes, the nice summer cars, newer. A lot of folks will put those up in storage. Yeah, you can reduce coverage on those while they're in storage. And a lot of people do that. And it depends on whether it makes sense for you or not, right? If you're saving a significant amount of money, do it. Absolutely. And how does that work? Well, you put the vehicle in storage. You call us and say, I put the vehicle in storage. Don't call us and say, I'm putting the vehicle in storage. No, call us and say, I put it in storage. As in past tense, it's in storage. I want to remove coverage the day after I put it in storage. And what we're doing is we're removing liability coverage, we're removing medical payments coverage, and we're removing collision coverage, retaining one piece, and that's called comprehensive, which is the type of coverage that would cover it while it's in storage. Thing to think about, though, is if you're storing it in your own location and there's any probability or risk whatsoever that you could run into that car with another one of your cars, don't remove coverage because you won't have collision coverage on it for the damage caused.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was just reading in the news about that vehicle that struck a house.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So what if that had been a garage and it had gone through the wall, through the door into that vehicle?
Yeah. So if it didn't have collision, because it was hit by somebody else's vehicle, it's going to be their property damage liability that's going to cover the damage to the house. But if they hit the garage, it would have been the damage to the garage. If they hit a car within and damaged that, it would have been to that too. So there would have been, but if they didn't have enough coverage or no coverage and you have no collision coverage, sometimes when I talk, I feel like, man, I hope people are getting this wacky circle of coverage that I'm talking about. But that's why we exist, to slow it down and give you a real world example of the benefits of whether you should remove coverage or not.
Actually, I did put some thought into that question because throughout our years together, we have always mentioned it is best to err on the side of caution with your coverage because there's underinsured and uninsured motorists out there.
Is it worth saving maybe $100 to $200 a year for having a significant exposure that you have no control over, right? Somebody getting, maybe your car is a $50,000 car. You're like, you know what? I'm going to reduce coverage on it. And that's great. It's over there. It's, I'm safe. And then something happens, such as a collision, where all of a sudden that $50,000 car has significant damage that you have no recourse because you took the coverage off. So it really is a bit of a gamble in that case, right? We have people with campers and seasonal trailers and motorhomes that like to add and remove, add and remove. You know, we used to do that a lot more than we do now. It still makes sense for some, but we tend to ask more questions like, where are you parking this particular unit? Is there any probability that another vehicle could strike this vehicle or this unit or this trailer? You know, and if the answer is no, well, then it makes sense to maybe dial back some coverage for you.
Well, then also, too, we've got our less than four-wheeled vehicles out there. You know, we've got our razors, not our razors. We've got our slingshots. We've got our motorcycles. We've got the Can-Am three-wheeled motorcycles, basically snowmobiles with tires.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these things aren't going to be run in the winter.
Right. And the beautiful part about that is, as we've seen a bit of a trend with the industry, is more and more of our carriers now, if you have a snowmobile and you have an ATV and you have a motorcycle, you can put them all in the same policy. So it becomes more like an auto policy where you can add, reduce, and adjust coverage versus having to have a new policy, a new policy, a new policy. So I love doing that because if you have an ATV, you're going to keep coverage on that all the time. But you might have a snowmobile that's maybe a mid-90s sled that goes out when the snow is deep and you only need coverage for a few weeks. Well, that's cool because you can call, have that put on, go out riding, have some fun, snow melts, call back, I'm done, remove it. Simple. You don't really have a vested interest, or you're not all that concerned about the value because it's only worth a few $100s to maybe a few $1,000s at the most, but you get to go ride it legally, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and legally is the key. And we always have great conversations, Mike. And as we mentioned in nearly every chat, to have the conversation with you and the crew, how can they reach out?
Sure, just give us a call, 748-5224. You can find our office on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com. Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency. And NEK Can dropped a little bit of cool news over the weekend. I don't know if you saw that. We didn't have our Rail Trail and Ale 5K this spring. Guess what? We'll have it October 18th. Go to nekcan.org for all the details.
All right. More fundraising, helping our community members that are battling cancer. I'll see you in a week's time.
I will be here.
And we go back to music with Everclear on Magic 97.7.